Coming up on this episode of DL Weekly, LA fire heroes get a nice perk at the resorts. Disney fans can buy a t-shirt to help support those impacted. Some new additions to the Season of the Force.
A new story at Savi's is coming. Reservations are going away at one location at the resort. We talked to Dawn from the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet about the upcoming event and more. DL Weekly starts now.
Oh boy, it sure is great to see you, Weekly Tears. Come on, Goofy. Gores.
Hello and welcome to this episode of DL Weekly for the week of February 12th, 2025. I'm Teresa Urban.
And I'm Tag Bushman. We would like to thank everyone who supports the show. This week, we'd like to give a special shout out to Dave VC and Stefan W for being supporters. If you would like to help support the show and get ad-free versions of each episode, access to our supporter-only chat, swag and stuff like that, a nice handwritten welcome card, all the great stuff, head on over to dlweekly.net/support and become an official weekly tier.
Now let's get to the news.
Extra, extra, read all about it. DL Weekly reports from intrepid correspondents Tag and Teresa. You heard it here first, ladies and gents. Breaking news!
California firefighters, eligible Los Angeles-based law enforcement personnel, emergency medical technicians, and other mutual aid departments who helped with the LA fire effort can get a hero ticket to Disneyland. The hero ticket is valid from May 5th through August 7th, Mondays through Thursdays, and requires a theme park reservation. The ticket will allow the holder and one guest into the parks. Qualifying fire, police, and sheriff's departments will get more details in April.
Yeah, so when I was looking at the details of this, I was like, okay, well, how do you get it? Because the post on the Disney Parks blog didn't really have that information, but they plan to get the information out in April to any of the qualifying places. So if you work for one of these agencies or you did mutual aid with these agencies, you should be able to get that information in April, which is really great because, like, you know, it's not inexpensive to go to Disneyland. And what a great way for Disney to recognize the people who just dealt with all these tragic, terrible, awful fires in the LA area, which just heartbreaking. I watched a video. There was a couple guys who have a YouTube channel, and they interviewed, the way I came about them was they interviewed Jimmy, who is Mr. Beast on YouTube, because he has Beast Games, which is an Amazon Prime show. They had interviewed him like a week before the fires happened, and then they made a follow-up video like on their channel that was suggested to me. And they had just bought houses in that area, and both of their houses burned down. And like one of them, like his wife was pregnant, and like she's gonna have her baby soon. And he had like pictures of like that he just finished building the crib and everything. So it's been really devastating in the LA area. Yeah. And now this week we're getting like rain. You know, California's getting rain, and so all of those areas that were burnt are now flooding because there's nothing to like absorb the so it's just not a great situation all really around. Terrible. And this is in addition to Disney announcing $15 million commitments for rebuilding efforts and everything. So this is like in addition to that. So I thought it was really cool for them to do this.
Another thing that we hadn't reported on yet was that also the Disney volunteers have been hosting donation drives to collect essential items for impacted individuals and families as well. But I think this is just a really amazing thing that the Disneyland Resort is doing to show their appreciation for the people on the front lines and the first responders to the recent fires. Ken Potrock, current president of the Disneyland Resort, said, quote, "We are inspired by the endless dedication and contributions of the heroes who battled the fires that took place in the LA area, and our gratitude for their service is immeasurable. We hope these heroes can enjoy a memorable day with loved ones at our parks because they certainly deserve it."
Oh, definitely. Definitely. So,
well, and the thing that a lot of people may not realize is a lot of these folks that were on the front lines trying to fight these fires and help other people, they also lost their homes and they also were very much impacted this way too. I was watching the concert on Disney Plus, the LA, they had that benefit concert. You can watch it on Disney Plus. And there was a firefighter that they had interviewed there that he basically made sure that he got his family evacuated into safety and then put on his uniform and went and started fighting the fires, which is just, I can't even imagine. Like, first of all, being in the position to have to like see these fires coming to your home and having to evacuate for your own safety and just kind of like completely walk away from your life not knowing what's going to be there when the dust settles, and then like have that experience, make sure your family's safe, and then go back into it to go right in the heart of it to fight it. Like, that's just absolutely incredible. These people deserve so much more, but I think this is a very nice way for them to kind of get a break and just kind of enjoy things and spend time with their families and kind of have some happy memories in the midst of this tragedy.
Well, and anybody who's listening and Disney fans who want to help support those impacted by the wildfires in Southern California can help by purchasing a Disney LA Strong t-shirt. The shirt features Mickey Mouse with the words LA Strong next to him. For each purchase, Disney will donate $25 to the American Red Cross, with those proceeds going directly to the Southern California Recovery Aid. The shirt can be purchased on DisneyStore.com. The price is $30, so that means that Disney is giving 25 of the $30 to it, so I think they're just covering their costs.
Yeah, basically.
And comes in white and black variations. So if you want to help and get a t-shirt out of it, this is a way you could do that.
This is really a really cool other way that the Disney company is supporting this. And the thing that's really neat is that this kind of came about because Disney employees wanted to give back and show support for those that had been impacted by fire. So the design is minimalistic, but it's effective. But I think that's cool that this was something that, it wasn't necessarily the company that was doing it, but it was Disney employees that were wanting to do this. Because the other thing too that I know we reported on back when the fires had just been happening is that a lot of folks that work for Disney or had worked for Disney were impacted by these fires. So this hit really, really, really close to home for a lot of Disney cast members because, like I said, their coworkers were impacted. Folks that they had worked with previously were impacted. So, I think it's really amazing to see the show of support.
Yeah, definitely. It's just, it's like, I can't even imagine. I've never even been remotely in a situation where I felt that my place where I habitate was going to be impacted in any way. And just thinking about, these people, like I said, the video I was watching about the creators, like everything, like most people that have been interviewed, if you watch the news or anything, the people that, they're like, I have the clothes on my back.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine losing every possession that I have. And it's just possessions. I mean, we got to remember that it's important that people, some people died as well, but to save, if you're ever impacted by something like this, don't try to save things. You can always replace things. People always say this. Just get yourself out. But man, I just can't imagine losing every possession I have. Well,
and I mean, to be fair, some of the things are irreplaceable that get lost in this. So it is important to put your health first. But yeah, there are things that you may never be able to recover. But I was just going to say, you were saying how people escaped and, what it was. There was something really impactful, again, with the Disney Plus, the concert series that was for the relief efforts. And it was Billy Crystal came out and he was wearing an outfit, which I didn't think much of the outfit, but he then went in to say he was intentionally wearing those clothes because that was what he was wearing when he had to evacuate his home before his home was lost to the fires too. So kind of having that visual was just, it was really impactful. So if you care to, there are many different ways to support. These are some ways that you can help support the efforts through the Disney company. But yeah, there's all sorts of different resources out there, but this is something that you can do as well as a Disney fan. Well, the Force is strong this coming season of The Force at Disneyland. A new nightly projection show, Shadows of Memory, a Skywalker saga, will debut on March 28th, painting the spires of Galaxy's Edge with images from the films of the Skywalker story. Luke Skywalker will also appear for the first time in Batuu. These new additions join the Fire of the Rising Moon's nighttime experience. Hyperspace Mountain and more, March 28th through May 11th.
Okay, so they have some concept art at the link we have in the show notes of this. And this, I don't know why they haven't done a projection show in Batuu before now, because this is amazing.
I'm glad they're embracing this.
Yeah, no, totally. This looks amazing. I know that being back in Galaxy's Edge at night, the lighting is amazing back there. And the fact that they're going to have this cool projection show, which is going to be different, not the same thing as the Fire of the Rising Moons, because that goes with the fireworks show.
Yeah.
This is a different show that'll happen. And they say, check the Disneyland app for show times during this time. It may be multiple times an evening you could catch this, as opposed to like the fireworks, right? That you catch like once. So very, very cool. I am very excited to see what this comes about. And of course, once they do something like this once, that they can do stuff like this in the future. So you might get different versions of stuff. Also, in the concept art, I love these like waterfalls that it looks like they're going to project onto the rocks and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it kind of gives it a feeling of like Batu at a different time, like before it was just I don't know. I'm very excited for this. I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, no, I'm excited too. I am sad that we will not be at the parks, because your trip tag is right before this is happening, and then it wraps up right before we're going to be out for the Disney event. So we are just going to miss this, but I am so excited for everyone that gets to experience it. We will be experiencing it from afar via someone's YouTube video of it, I'm sure. But it looks really magical. The other huge news that had fans just like in a tizzy, Star Wars fans
in a good way,
in a tizzy in a good way, was they have teased, and folks have put together, because they haven't actually specifically said, but Luke Skywalker will be a face character in Batu. It looks like it's the Luke Skywalker that we met during The Mandalorian, that came and took Grogu under his wing to train.
Spoiler alert, Teresa.
Oh, sorry.
No,
sorry.
I know it's been a couple years, but yes.
But yeah, so it's that version of Luke, because Luke has a very long story in the Star Wars universe, so there's different versions of Luke, and it makes sense. Someone in our community Discord was talking about this, and it makes perfect sense to me that this works, because the area back here could be like the Mandalorian kind of time frame, because we've had like Boba Fett, Fennec, the Mandalorian, Grogu, and then they're also going to be Ahsoka, yep, and they're also going to be transforming Smuggler's Run into having a different story for the adventure that you're going on. So it's not like the whole thing's, it's kind of like Star Tours, how like there's different sequences that you can go through. That's going to be Mandalorian themed, so it kind of all ties together and makes sense. So before, Batu is very set in its timeline. The timeline is not completely it's not completely gone. They're just kind of, it seems like they're almost creating different areas, which I think works well, because kind of like Marvel, you kind of get these stories, and then sometimes folks' stories ends, or people never actually interacted or ever would have met with each other or whatever. So I can see how from the thematic side, it could be difficult trying to navigate how to do that in a park, because like Kylo Ren never got to meet Darth Vader.
Sure.
So it'd be a little strange if they were like meeting and greeting next to each other.
Yeah.
But I could see them being on a rotation that's opposite of each other.
I was going to say, I think that the main thing, if they want to try to keep this, I think the average guest...
Oh, for sure.
Doesn't care.
Yeah.
They just want to meet the characters that they love from these properties. And I think that as long as you don't put Kylo Ren, like you said, right next to Darth Vader, it's not a problem. So, yeah, don't have Rey go hang out with Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Like, just have, like, in the morning, we're going to have the original trilogy people out. And in the evening, we're going to have the sequel trilogy people out. And then, like, maybe we swatch for the next day or whatever.
Yeah, or maybe split the land. Like, have this side be this part of, you know,
The
like
timeline.
the kind of like the new age timeline, and this be like the old original timeline. You know, you could do it different ways. But this is big because it's shifting.
People have asked for a long time because they wanted to see Luke, they wanted to see Leia, they wanted to see Han Solo, they wanted to see Darth Vader. You know who I'd like to see? I'd like to see the Emperor.
Oh, I
really
thought you were
cool.
gonna say, what's his name? The guy that you really like, the general. He's blue.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he'd
What's
be really
his name?
cool. I picked a guy on the hub crawl a couple weeks ago, and I can't remember what his stupid name was.
You know,
But he's in the game. The video game. But you're thinking of a different guy. Oh, are you talking about the little furry? No.
that guy.
Oh,
Thrawn.
Thrawn. Yeah, Thrawn would be cool to have wandering around Batu as well. I would love to meet Grand Admiral Thrawn, yes. Sorry, I was thinking of like, all the blue people, because
he's not a general. I'm sorry.
There's a blue guy that I liked from the video game from Star Wars Battlefront. That was
there's
really cool.
there's a lot of blue colored characters you enjoy.
I really enjoy.
Because you really like Nubs
from the Young Jedi Adventures. Anyway, I want all of these characters to be in Batu where we can meet them. Well, Season of the Force will also bring a new story to the custom lightsaber building experience at Savi's workshop. Reclaimed and Reforged will begin for a limited time on May 4th. The updated experience includes parts scavenged by different pirates throughout the galaxy. Of course, new merchandise and food will also be on hand to round out Season of the Force. I'm very excited about this Savi's thing.
I'm so curious about what this is. Reclaimed and Reforged. I think this is brilliant because folks that have done the experience, like Tag, have said that the experience is really
moving,
really amazing, especially
intense.
for the true Star Wars fans. It's very unique and kind of something that you would never think that you'd get to experience. And they make it very real feeling, I guess. So you're very immersed. But how many lightsabers does one need to build, especially when you go in and you kind of have picture parts and pieces? So I think it's brilliant that they're kind of giving this a different spin, because then you can go have this experience again and it's not the same experience. It's not like you have the same set of things to choose from to build your lightsaber on. You've got new things to do. And this might be a once in a whatever, I don't want to say lifetime, but like this is not something that you can just do anytime. This is a unique experience.
I told James when I saw this, I said, James, we have a problem. And he goes, what? I go, I might have to build another lightsaber. And he goes, why? And I said, because they're having a new story. And he's like, oh. So
See?
Like, it wasn't like a no. It was just kind of like
See?
Because that experience, like, I'm not somebody that gets too emotional about anything, but man, when there was the moment where you turn your lightsaber on and everybody lifts it up and Yoda and stuff's talking, like, it was intense.
Yeah.
And I think of all of the Disney experiences that I've had, that was probably the most intense Disney experience I've had, of like feeling this communal experience with everybody else who was in that room with their lights. I don't know. It's hard to describe. It was amazing, and I don't know if like a second version of something like this would be the same. But it sounds cool. I love pirates.
You did the experience yourself, and Catsper went in with you, because if folks that do this experience get to bring a guest, so it was you were the one building the lightsaber. Catsper was your guest, and then you got to experience it a second time when James built his lightsaber and you were James's guest. You've already experienced it twice, and both times you thought it was like earth-shattering. I'm sure doing it a third time will still be very...
it'll be different, right? Yeah. You know what else is cool about it?
Also, it just dawned on me, you would do it when I'm with you, so I could get to be the guest. Go. Look at that.
But now, because you haven't experienced it at all.
I haven't, no.
Yeah, because I thought maybe Vern was going to make a lightsaber, but he's like, I don't know, I probably wouldn't do it. You know, it's a lot of money for like something that's going to sit on the wall.
He's someone that would like the experience, but doesn't need the physical item. So that,
But I think another thing that makes this experience at Savi's so unique is it's not like an attraction that like every time we go we can experience it. I've experienced it twice, and the only reason I've experienced it twice is because I went, like you said, and then James went. But like, it's not like a whole group of people can go in and experience this.
Well, it's not like
without
you can
buying a lightsaber.
I mean, you could, but it's not like Oga's where you could just kind of like pop, casually stop in when you want. Not that you can casually stop in at Oga's, but
really though, the whole experience is what makes it. The fact that you get to pick your pieces and you put the thing together, and they put the crystal in, and they do this thing that seems very magical, that like the blade shows up out of nowhere almost, and then like Yoda comes and the lights change and the cast members like perfectly in sync with the lighting effect. Like, it's just masterful, and I'm so glad that people who I've seen people online that have built multiple lightsabers, and that's a lot of money. But if you're a big fan, I mean, I spent a lot of money
If
on
that's
other
your
stuff.
thing. People, everyone's got their thing. And
I think you should build a lightsaber. And you should take Vernon with you so he can experience it with you.
Okay. The person of the four of us that's probably the lowest on the list of Star Wars fan, I don't know what I would do with a lightsaber.
Put it in the back of the podcast area here.
You know what I would like to do?
Okay.
Is this next news story. There is a new 45-minute mixology course that is coming to a wonderful, amazing location at the Disneyland Hotel. Of course, we're talking about Trader Sam's. The Trader Sam's Mixology Seminar will teach guests how to make one alcoholic and one non-alcoholic drink from the Trader Sam's bartenders. Classes start February 12th with a second date on March 3rd, with sessions at 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. Hors d'oeuvres, live entertainment, and music will be on hand after the class, along with a tiki mug to take home. Fun thing with the tiki mug is if you go to the class on the 12th, the day that this episode drops, so if you were able to tell the future and you knew about this class ahead of time before we told you, you get to go home with a tiki mug that has yet to be released to the public, so you get it before the public does. The class is $231.45 per person, and guests must be over 21.
Yeah. You want to talk about spending money for things? You'd spend $231 for this?
They have these mixology class experiences kind of peppered throughout the year. It seems like Food and Wine Festival, there tends to be some that come up. This is really neat that they're doing, and they've done this another time too, where they're doing it ahead of a mug release, and part of the class is that you get to take home the brand new mug prior to when it's available for sale for the general public. But we talked about this. We actually, the first time we mentioned these, we were like, that was actually because we saw a news article of someone that experienced the full event. So you get one alcoholic drink, one non-alcoholic drink that you get. And then there was like a little, I don't know, hangout type thing. You get to spend some time in Trader Sam's with just the people in the class, but there was also kind of like a reception, I guess would be what I'd call it, outside on the lawn space there. And you got basically everything that's on the Trader Sam's menu. They had the fried green beans and all the different delicious favorites, and that was all included. So you kind of almost got a meal along with it too. So it was quite a lot of things.
It was a whole experience.
It wasn't just a mixology class. It was an experience where you got drinks, food, and a fun take-home tiki mug.
It sounds like fun. I as someone who doesn't really drink alcohol, I feel like half of the experience would kind of be lost on me. But
depends on what you're making. Maybe it doesn't taste like alcohol. The other thing too is if you're not wanting to do the mixology class, but you're a mug collector, the new Laughing Lava mug will be available for everyone on mobile order on February 13th, which is very fun. And then the designer of the mug is going to be signing the mugs for a limited time on the 13th. He'll be signing near the Disneyland Hotel Adventure from 10 a.m. to 10:45, and then again from 12:15 to 1:45. The designer is Derek Yanger. It's cute.
Yeah. I mean, it is cool. I mean, they always do such a great job with these mugs, and this one's super cool. It looks like a volcano erupting.
Vern has started dipping his toes in the tiki mug collecting waters. How can you not, though? Especially when you love like the Disney things.
Because it can be an expensive hobby.
It is. But again, for some people it's lightsabers. Some people it's ears. We all have our thing that we're spending money on. It's just what's your thing. Yep. You just gotta be choosy because we can't do all the things. Popcorn buckets. You can't. It's hard to collect all the things. A, expense. B, space.
Yeah. That's been a big one lately.
Yeah.
Well, one place at the resort is doing away with reservations. Of course, it's not the actual park, though. That's the unfortunate thing. Starting March 17th, the Droid Depot in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge will no longer take reservations for the droid building experience. At the experience, guests build a custom droid, which comes with a carry box and instructions. The price to do this is $99.99 plus tax.
I think this makes a lot of sense. I'm going to be very honest. I knew there were reservations required back when the land opened, and this was like the fun new experience. But every time we'd gone past the Droid Depot, it didn't seem like there was too many folks in there building their custom droids. So I kind of thought that demand maybe had kind of slowed and leveled out a bit. So it had been reservation and walk-up availability. Now it's just switched to walk-up availability only, which makes sense because what the experience is, if you haven't done it yourself or if you haven't gone into the Droid Depot and watched it, is all of the different droid parts are kind of on this conveyor belt. And so there's different stations. And so you are at your station and you grab the parts and pieces off the conveyor belt as they're going past that you would like to create your droid. So it's very easy to have multiple people doing this at the same time. And it's kind of like build at your own pace. Whereas like the lightsaber experience is more, it's almost like a show with the experience. Whereas this is just kind of like get your stuff together, make sure everything works. And it's not like everybody has to start at the same time, that sort of thing. Whereas the lightsaber experience, like I said, is much different. It is everybody kind of going through the steps at the same time together.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is one of those things that, again, it comes with like space and all of that stuff that I thought that this looked like a really cool experience, but it wasn't something like I necessarily wanted. Although they do have some like BB-8 looking droids you can build there, which is kind of tempting actually. But one of the neat things about the droid building experience is like you get to pick, just like with the lightsaber, you get to pick all the different pieces, and you get to pick a personality chip. So each of them can have like a different personality. And different controls, and you can have them do all types of cool stuff. So it's a very neat experience, especially for like kids. I feel like kids just love this experience.
We need to talk about, there is a group of individuals. We met them at the Disney Anna event. The Droid Builders Guild, I think, is their kind of like club name. And it's all of these people that have either built droids at the Droid Depot or maybe built droids on their own at home that have customized them so much and made them so unique and so cool. And they had droid racing and stuff going on at the Disney Anna event, but they were incredible. And these people get like, they're very into it and they're very smart and like creative about the whole process. So it's like they went with the droid building experience and then like plussed it.
Oh yeah.
Just for like the casual fan. And if you hang out by the Droid Depot, you can also see people that bring their droids into the park to kind of play with them in the Star Wars universe space and kind of do meetups. Cause I do think the droids can like interact with each other too. So it's just wild. I just love watching people in their fandoms, doing their things and seeing the amazing and incredible things and the very, very creative things that people come up with.
Yeah. There's some amazing talent out there for sure.
Well, last week was the last time guests could hop aboard the red car trolley in Disney California Adventure. Fans turned out on the last day to get a last ride in, even waiting up to an hour and a half for a ride. It was a bittersweet ending to an attraction that brought immersive theming, kinetic energy, and a lot of fun to the park.
So Mice Chat reports that they used the part of the Hyperion Theater queue to hold guests waiting for this.
And this was an hour and a half wait on both ends of the line.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I love that people showed up for the red car trolley.
I want to say the last time we were there, we rode the red car trolley. So that was, we didn't even know it was like going away then.
No,
so that was good.
We didn't.
Did you see the video that Mice Chat posted about?
I couldn't. I'm feeling like I have like this weird, like, I'm so sad about this, and I still think I'm probably just in denial.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me to think that this is
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this
and
video,
just a very expensive photo op.
They had a few of the cast who run it, and then they had Mickey and Minnie in the back, and they were waving to people as it went back, and then this giant crowd followed the trolley to the Avengers campus doors that open, and it like went in and everybody was like clapping and cheering, and some people were sad. Aww. And it just kind of went in and they waved, and then like the little door closed, and that was that. It was very cool looking that people turned out for this. Now, I did see some people in the comments, and you know how the internet is sometimes, saying, wow, it's amazing all these people showed up for this. If they would have shown up to ride it normally, maybe it would have been around more.
But I think they did. I don't think it was because the red car trolley wasn't popular. Because, in fact, the last couple of times that we rode it, it was to capacity. They filled every single seat. Yeah. I think it was just logistics of where the barn is currently in the backstage area and the fact that they're needing that space to expand Avengers Campus. So I don't think it's because it wasn't a popular thing.
I think it'll come back.
I hope so. Like I said, maybe I'm in denial, but I really think it'll come back. I really hope it'll come back.
I feel like they'll figure something out.
Mm-hmm. Now, if they start, taking the tracks up, then that's when I feel like we're in trouble. But I feel like there's still hope. Yeah. But I really do love that people showed up to give the trolley kind of like a final farewell and a last hurrah. I love that people kind of had like an impromptu little parade along with the trolley. That's amazing. I mean, I get it. I would have done the same thing.
All these people.
I just love that the final ride was the attraction, the trolley full of conductors and with Mickey and Minnie. Like, what a great final hurrah.
And look, the conductor's hugging Mickey and Minnie. Yeah.
Wonderful.
It just makes me sad because one of the things I really liked was the Red Car Trolley Boys show, which worked with the trolley.
Yes.
Anyway, on to more positive news. The updated Cozy Cone ordering area finally opened this week. The area behind the office of the Cozy Cone Motel has been behind walls for months now, and I've been wondering what the heck's going on there. Well, a new ordering area featuring 2 desks with 2 registers each is set up to take orders for all of the cones. Once the guest places an order at the desk, they can take the receipt to the proper window to pick up their items.
I think this makes so much sense because those poor cones were not originally designed with mobile order in mind.
No.
And some of the cones were mobile order only. I do think because when they changed this, it was updated that each cone was now pickup only. So I'm not sure if maybe some of the cones did still have a register and a standby line versus a pickup only window. There's only 2 windows at these cones. Yeah. They're not very big. So with the demand of
one
mobile,
cast member,
so with the demand of mobile, how many orders they're having to fill for mobile order plus having to run the register, it makes so much sense for the register for the standby location to be in one space, and then you can just walk over and it's pickup only. I think that's brilliant. It makes so much sense. Again, could they maybe have done away with mobile order at this location to solve the problem? Yes, but I was thinking about this because I do think that this, along with other things, are kind of like self-created problems that the resort has made for themselves, like the queue at the Little Mermaid. I don't think that needs to be expanded. If they took Lightning Lane away, we wouldn't need a larger queue for Little Mermaid. But I digress. I was thinking about this. I would love to see. We will never know. But what were the sales at the Cozy Cones prior to mobile order? And what are the sales of the Cozy Cones now with mobile order? Because I know from our experience, we have mobile ordered from Cozy Cones far more than we ever did a standby at a Cozy Cone. And it's because it's kind of like this weird, convenient, like grab and go quick thing. So like we'll be walking, we won't even be stopping in Radiator Springs. We're just probably walking past or walking near and we'll be like, oh, you know what sounds really good? A Paradise. And so we'll just quick order ourselves one, grab it as we're going from land to land, without even having to really it's not kind of a production to do mobile order there because it's usually pretty quick grab and go.
It's like a fast food location. Yeah. Like you would go to like a drive-through, like you're on the way somewhere and you're like, well, let's just swing into McDonald's quick.
So I bet you mobile order has actually had a very positive impact on sales for this location.
You'll be happy to know that David from Fresh Baked confirmed on his construction thing that the interior lobby has remained the same.
Good. We were talking about this during our YouTube public live stream. That was this past Sunday. If you had not had a chance to watch because you were watching a little something called the Super Bowl instead, we forgive you. You can go on YouTube and you can re-watch our stream from the weekend. But we did talk about this because we felt this was a very good thing to discuss and show the visuals of because, right, it was a big visual change. And that was one of our concerns. Nobody had taken a photo of the inside of that building and it was themed so well. And I was very much hoping that didn't go away. And yay, thank you, David, for confirming.
They could have easily not built this whole back thing and just put the stuff inside.
I was a little nervous about that because they had paper, like they had made it frosted or papered the glass, and I thought that was going away. So I was very happy.
I think they did they probably did some cabling or something like through that area, and they've remasked it. But yeah, so it's good.
Well, joining this welcome change in Cars Land is Red's Community Garden. The seating area that opened across from Luigi's recently has been updated to be a community garden featuring everyone's favorite fire engine, Red. The garden's entrance is a new trellis painted in red and white, lighting, a community garden sign, and Red himself. I love it. Has like fire engine touches in this archway.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I really enjoy about this is a normal like Disney thing, right? Like they didn't have to build this.
Yes.
They could have just left it a seating area and it was fine. It opened a few weeks ago and nobody was like, oh, they need more theming. It was fine. Mm-hmm. And they're like, you know what? Let's add a trellis with Red on it and let's be Red's community garden. Why not?
I was looking at some comments online, and some people were confused at first, like why Red? Well, because if you've watched the Cars films, Red can be seen watering the plants throughout the town. So it makes sense that it's his community garden. However, I will challenge Disney a little bit. I would like to see a little bit more theming in the way of the garden now, because they did actually remove what was a garden area for the seating to go in. So I think it'd be fun if they placed maybe a few more of the like faux Radiator Springs flowers where they use like the tail lights and like different parts of a car. They have some at the entrance there, but I think that'd be nice if they kind of incorporated more of the thematic gardening into the actual seating area as well. Time will tell. Maybe that's phase 3. We had phase 1 was a seating area. Phase 2 was the beautiful archway that we now have. So perhaps that's phase 3.
Maybe. Well, the first 2 days of Celebrate Gospel at Disneyland kicked off this weekend at the Fantasyland Theater. The theater was dotted with displays showcasing the history of gospel music. Chairs were added to the area where seating had been removed for Pixar Fest so more guests could be accommodated and bring guests closer to the performers. This Sunday is the last day of performances that start at 2 p.m. and run until 7 p.m.
Okay, I have a confession.
Okay.
I did not realize that I knew that they had removed some of the seating for the Pixar Fest celebrations that they had going on there, and then they used that space again for Santa over the holiday season. I kind of assumed that they would put the benches back, but it seems like it was a permanent change since they have temporary seating for Celebrate Gospel. Either that, or this is a sign that some other interactive event will be coming to the Fantasyland Theater in the near future, and so that's why they didn't put the benches back in the spaces that they were. But this was really cool because we had talked about how Celebrate Gospel was going to have these live music performances. I didn't realize, and it looks like there was all sorts of other fun things to do there too. Interactive things, like there was a wall of giving flowers, so you could write down who you were thankful for and put your flower on the chain along with other flowers. They've done this for other events like Dia de los Muertos. They have a similar activity, and then all the different stained glass looking displays talking about gospel music. Like, this is really well done.
Yeah, they did a really nice job. I'm just a little sad because maybe I'm just remembering something differently, but it just seems like there was like more before, and it's been compacted into like 2 little days. I kind of thought it was
longer. I thought that it was like a month-long event, and now it's just 2 big days that they kind of have all the live performances and such going on.
The good thing about it being 2 days is if you are local to the area, you could see all of the different performers instead of like, well, now I got to try to come to all these different things. So, but it looked like it was a fun time.
Well, the 70th anniversary outfits for the characters at Disneyland have been unveiled. The costumes are bright blues, golds, purples, yellows, teals, and more, featuring star shapes and pixie dust. Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, Pluto, and more will be getting into the act come May when the 70th officially kicks off.
I don't know why when I was writing this earlier today, I was like, oh my gosh, the 70th. It's like coming. It's going to be here anytime now, soon. And the costumes look great. And the costuming people just do an amazing job with all of this stuff. And these look great. It reminds me, when I first saw them, it reminds me of Magic Happens. It's got that same kind of feel to it, like that, like those tones.
Vibrant, whimsical.
Vibrant, that's a great way to describe it. Yeah, so they were actually doing quite a bit of promotional filming in the park this week with this too. So the Instagram video we have linked in the show notes is one part of this. I saw some other photos from earlier in the week of them in the area by the lockers on Main Street. Clarabelle was there in her outfit and doing some stuff with like a family with the 70th ears on and everything. So it looks like it's going to be cool. They're already getting ready for the 70th, and it's February. Everything starts in May. It's not very far from now.
That's true. So the thing that made this so exciting is we had seen concept art for these costumes, but like Tag mentioned, the costumes, like the characters are wearing the costumes, they're in the parks, they did all sorts of like promotional shooting. We'll have to try and find, somebody had snuck a photo of them taking some of this promotional photos, video happening, because one of the big things too was, okay, so we're excited about the costumes, but like Tag mentioned, there was also other little hints of things to come that the families in these promotional things we're wearing too. The 70th years being one of them. They're very fun, very colorful, very vibrant. But I'm excited to see these looks in the park.
Yeah, it'll be cool. It's very, like I said, very vibrant that they're going to have all of these things. So
we did talk about this and show off the costumes as well as kind of the sneak peek at one of the pairs of 70th years merch during that live stream. So again, another good reason to go check out our YouTube channel to catch up on that live stream from this weekend.
Yeah. They look awesome.
They do.
That's all I got to say. Oh, here's Clarabelle. Wow. That's an awesome outfit.
Yoo-hoo! Hello, everybody! It's me, Heimlich. My stomach is so empty. Hey, help me to go find something to eat. Come on, everybody. Here we go.
Well, this week for Snack Chat, we are going to talk about Goofy's Kitchen Springtime Buffet. So this is something that's happening over at the Disneyland Hotel, and this is the second year that they've done the Goofy's Kitchen Springtime Buffet.
Yeah, so what is this? It is an event where Goofy and his pals are dressed in their best inspired garden garb. So you've got buzzing bee details on Clarabelle's cowbell. There's a flower pot atop of Goofy's hat. Super fun thing. So unique costumes for the characters that you can only find at this event. And not only do you get the regular breakfast and dinner time favorites, the springtime breakfast, brunch, and dinner buffets all feature extra delicious options such as pork belly chilaquiles, orange saffron salmon.
I'm just stuck with the chilaquiles because I feel like if I mention that to James, he's going to be like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I felt like if this was overlapping with your trip, you would be going just for the chilaquiles.
They also have a carving station with prime rib and more. So prices for this are $65 for adults for breakfast and lunch and $75 for adults at dinner. Children ages 3 to 9 pay between $36 and $39 depending on the meal. Bookings for this begin on the 13th of February, and it starts on April 3rd at Goofy's Kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Very fun. And of course, Goofy's Kitchen is located at the Disneyland Hotel.
Yeah, it's like the cool, like themed place at the Disneyland Hotel for people.
Tons of characters. So I know we mentioned Goofy and Clarabelle, but there are tons of other characters that you get to meet at your time dining at Goofy's Kitchen. It's a very fun place. We've not experienced it ourselves just yet, but have heard very positive reviews, especially if character dining is something that you very much enjoy. This is one of the great places at the parks to be able to experience that.
Yeah. Well, you've heard us talk about our great experiences at the Howard Johnson Anaheim. Well, we have partnered with them to offer our listeners some cool discounts. And in fact, there's a really great discount happening right now that we're going to get to in just a second. Weekly tiers can get 15% off their stay. To take advantage of the discount, head on over to our website and click on the Howard Johnson logo. Be sure to use the promo code on the site to get the discount, but they're running a very special discount promo right now, which is what?
Yeah, it's called the Stay 3 Get 25% off promo. And you can, again, go to the link on our website. We will have the special promo code for the 25% off discount. So this is valid on stays booked by May 31st. Again, 25% off your stay of 3 nights or more. So very, very exciting. This is a great, great deal. If you have travel plans coming up and you were on the fence as to where you should go, we love the Howard Johnson. And this is one of the bigger discounts and best deals that I've seen them offer. So take advantage while you can.
Yeah, and as long as you book it by May 31st, the discount's valid. So that's a really great deal.
Your attention, please. DL Weekly Trivia is now leaving for a grand circle tour of the Magic Kingdom, with stops at New Orleans Square, Mickey's Toontown, and Tomorrowland. All weekly tiers for...
Welcome to Trivia Land, where we've got some wonderful questions, at least in my opinion. Are you two ready to have your brains challenged?
Well, you said that it was going to be a difficult one, so
I was going to say challenge. Challenge, I think, is the key word here. So we are ready to learn some new information.
All right.
That's the way to do it, I guess.
Well, let's see how it goes. So, as you know, the Super Bowl was this past Sunday.
I like to call it the Superb Owl.
Yes, that is a good way to say it. Yep, definitely. And you may recall a couple years back, maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, there was a time that I had asked questions about the What's Next campaign that is related to Disney and the Super Bowl, right? So I was trying to go back through the Trivia Land archives and bring back some of those questions. I couldn't find them.
Thank goodness.
So I went into Google and I was just trying to find some stuff and see if I could try to remember what those questions were. And instead I found a fascinating article about the What's Next campaign. And I dove into that and I found some great stuff. And we're going to see what you know about What's Next.
Okay.
So your first question from the things I learned today. According to Michael Eisner's 1998 memoirs, he and his wife, Jane Breckenridge, came up with the idea for the What's Next ad campaign while hosting a dinner for George Lucas and several other celebrities, including which two famous aviators?
Aviators?
Aviators.
See, I was feeling really good, Vern, because I just recently read an article about this as well. And I was like, oh, you're going to ask...
It's the same article.
Yeah, no, well, maybe, but... Not this question. Aviators, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Aviators.
And I actually recognize their names from Soren.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Lord. Well, I have no idea. I don't know any aviators' names.
The aviator names that I'd be able to tell you are people that would not have been able to attend that dinner.
I know Amelia Earhart
yes.
and Howard Hughes.
Lyndon Johnson. No, what is it? Not Lyndon Johnson.
That was the president.
Yeah. But isn't there a Lindenberg? Charles Lindbergh. Charles Lindbergh.
You got there.
I got there.
That's how brains work.
We took the scenic route.
That's okay.
But
the fact is we got there. That's what's important.
Yep. He would have been a couple years before George Lucas, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The people I can think of, I don't think would have still been alive.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sure you're going to say it, then we're going to be like, no. But
okay, so you're going with Amelia Earhart and Charles Lindbergh?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, those
Final
are
answers.
And we may as well throw the Wright brothers in there too.
Yep. Oh, that's who it was. It was the Wright brothers because there was two of them.
All right. Amelia Earhart and Charles Lindbergh. Final answers.
Talk about the random answer. Yeah, sure.
All right. Your second question. 2 weeks later, after the aforementioned dinner, New York Giants quarterback Phil Simms won Super Bowl 21, 1987 Super Bowl, and as he walked off the field, a camera crew asked what he was going to do next. He replied, "I'm going to Disney World." How much did he claim he was paid to say that?
$1.
How much did he claim? Nothing. He didn't claim anything. I feel like maybe he just did it because he was going to do it anyway. But that's probably not the answer. But that's what I'm going to say.
I'm sticking with $1.
$1? Mm-hmm. You're The Price is Right.
I'm the price of yes.
All right, so we've got guesses of nothing and $1. Final answers.
Yeah.
All right. Your third question. The What's Next campaign hasn't happened every Super Bowl since 1987. What year or years did they take off?
Well, I'm going to say
2020.
2020. No, 2020 was fine because the Super Bowl was earlier.
Oh.
So I'm going to say 2021 and probably 2022. I mean, I guess they could have been back open for 2022.
I think
but
they did
remember, it's 25. And I feel like we've reported on at least 2 times. of people going there.
2002.
Why 2002?
Because 2001 was September 11th.
So you don't think that they sent people to Disney World?
That's my random guess,
Sure.
along with 2021.
Okay. Well, I think 2021 is accurate. I'm going to say 2022. You're going to say 2002?
Yep. So you were saying 21, 22?
All right, so we've got guesses of 21, 22, and 22?
And 2002.
Oh, 2002.
Yeah, Teresa said 2002 and
Okay.
2021.
All right. And your fourth and final regular round question. Do only football players get asked what's next as part of the ad campaign?
I feel like that's what it's best known for. It could be with some other things, but I think it's just football players.
Football players.
Yeah.
Or is this like a trick question and like they ask like the spouses or the children?
They usually ask the quarterback, like, you just won the whatever championship. What are you going to do next?
No, I'm going to say that that's false.
Is
and
the
that-
question true or false?
I'm making it true or false
Oh.
if it's not.
I'm asking, is it only football players that get
Sure.
asked?
Oh, I guess
what's
that's yes or
next?
no. I'm going to say no. I think other sports people do as well. Because I'm thinking of the different like cavalcades I've seen of
Sure.
people that
But is that part of that campaign is the problem, is the
Oh.
question.
I don't know.
I'm going to say yes. Teresa says no. So then one of us
Someone's
will be
right.
right. I also want to react to Teresa's pointing at the screen because she was looking up Amelia Earhart and
I was
everybody.
Googling when all of these people that we had come to dinner when they I knew that they were all unable to attend the dinner in person.
The reason Amelia Earhart doesn't have a death date is because she's
Yes,
missing.
because she's
Yes.
missing. Yep.
Technically, we don't
But they don't
actually know
have
if she's
yeah,
dead.
they don't have a missing date when you just do a quick search.
Sure.
It is on the Wikipedia page.
Sure.
But
Sure. All right. And your bonus question tonight. Which team's MVP went to Disney World this past Monday after winning the Super Bowl
I got
Sunday
it.
night?
I got it.
I don't know this guy's name because I don't
The
care.
Eagles, which team?
Oh, which team?
I only asked the team. I didn't
Oh,
ask
the Eagles.
player.
That's easy.
If it was the
I thought
other
it was the quarterback
team,
because I was like, I don't know, because otherwise it was Mahomes.
if
was
it,
the
yep, if it was
previous,
the other
yeah.
team, I could have said the name.
There's
And
You know
the
what's-
Eagles are from.
Philadelphia.
There's
Okay.
people that are listening to this that are huge sports fans that are screaming at their
Mm-hmm,
podcast right now. Just like they're probably screaming the fact that we still had our episode live stream and our hangout that night
We did.
on YouTube while the Super Bowl was going on.
Yep,
So
we did.
we're not the, what do you call it,
This
Vern?
is
Sports ball
this
people?
is the
Yep, we're not
DL
sports
Weekly
ball people.
podcast, not the Football Weekly NFL Weekly podcast.
Sure.
It's true.
Occasionally, the DCL Weekly
Oh,
podcast.
geez. Here we go again.
Even Piper groaned at that
Yeah,
one.
I know. Good job, Piper.
All right, so Philadelphia Eagles. Final answer.
Yes.
Final. I have
All right.
one vote of confidence.
The Eagles. Got it.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, how much did you know about the What's Next campaign? How much do you think Tag and Teresa know about the
Not
What's
much.
Next campaign? Well, if you stick around until after the discussion, we can all find out together.
Well, this week for our discussion topic, we are talking with the producer and host of the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet, which, if you remember, a couple years ago, Teresa got to go to, and I did not, but that is changing this year.
He's not sad about that at all.
But Dawn Morin is here to talk about the event this year. Welcome to the show, Dawn.
Thank you so much, and I'm thrilled you have me back. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's great to hear both of your voices and talk with you again.
Yeah, and we always love having you on. It was a great time when we had you on last time, and Teresa had a wonderful time going and experiencing the mouse meet. And then I was super jealous when she came back and told me how amazing of an event it was. So I guess we should just kind of jump right in and tell us about like the overall event this year. When is it? Where is it for people who may not know about it? What is it?
Get right to the details. Okay.
Well, just, we can get into the fun stuff later. Let's just get like the bullet points so people can mark their calendars.
I thought you might ask me first what my favorite Dole Whip flavor or something is. We're getting right into the gritty, but that's all right.
I like that question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Favorite dessert in the park. To answer your question, thank you for asking. Pacific Northwest Mouse Meets. We're actually celebrating our 15th year this year. 1-5. And gosh, the first year I had no idea that I'd be 15 years later, right? I was just hoping to get through that first one and hopefully people would be happy about their experience. And lo and behold, here we are 15 years later. And coming up this summer, the weekend of July 19th. So July 18, 19, and 20, we'll be doing things all throughout the Hotel Events Center in Linwood, Washington. It's about 20 miles north of Seattle. We've been doing it in Linwood for all 15 years, a couple different venues, but this venue is unique and fantastic in that you can not only attend to the event, the ticketed event, and enjoy all that we have to offer, but you can also stay in the hotel and kind of, as you might say about the Disney parks or Disney property, you get to stay and play all in the magic for the whole weekend. So it's a privilege to be able to offer all that.
Yeah, you get to stay right there. It's like its own little Disney fan event bubble.
Yeah. Well, and Teresa, when she talked about it, made it sound like a Disney cruise line situation because people decorate their doors and there's all this sense of like community and camaraderie there with all the stuff going on. And it's a beautiful atrium. I think I remember you talking about how cool the atrium was. So it sounds amazing. I'm very excited to finally take what Teresa's shown me in photos and in stories and actually see it with my own eyes. So that'll be really exciting for me anyway.
Yeah, that's a really nice compliment that you would say that we're kind of like a cruise. And I never thought about that before until a few years ago when someone mentioned it, because we do door decorating contests and things, and 30 to 40 doors are decorated during the event weekend by guests staying at the hotel. And yeah, there's the big atrium. You can kind of see a lot of things down there within. And yeah, it kind of has that cruise shipy feel. We have meals throughout the day and nice dinners in the evening. So yeah, I can go with that. We don't float down a river or anything. The hotel is stationary, but
yeah, no seasickness happening.
I feel like there's probably a bunch of people who are relieved to hear that, because people like my sister-in-law, I'm like, you love Disney, we should go on a Disney cruise. And she's like, yeah, I want to get in a boat and do everything.
Not going to do it.
Yeah, right.
I need to ask this because this is a fun little fact about Don. Don enjoys his Disneyland snacks and Disneyland treats. You kind of hinted at this with Dole Whip. What is your favorite Disneyland snack? If you could like teleport to the park right now, what would be the first thing you grab?
34 churros.
34 churros.
That's now, a specific number.
Classic churros, or do you enjoy the like themed rotational ones that they do?
You know, I've never liked a themed churro as much as the original. So I tried them when they were first bringing those out, but now I just go for the classic.
Classic's where it's at, man.
They're so good.
Well, when you're standing there at the cart and you're waiting, and then you finally get yours, and it comes out warm and just covered in that cinnamon sugar, and that first bite, you get that little crunch, and it's soft inside, it's cinnamony, sugary. Oh my gosh.
That is unique to Disneyland, though, because I had a churro at Disney World at the Magic Kingdom, and those churros are not the same.
Agreed. Absolutely.
It's a travesty.
Since we were talking cruises, have you had a churro Mickey waffle on a Disney cruise?
I have.
I just experienced one the first time myself.
You did. Tell me more.
So I thought that it was just the Mickey waffles, and they just tossed them in cinnamon sugar, and then it maybe caramelized a little bit under the heat lamp, and still, that sounded amazing. Oh no, they deep fry the waffle. They go full churro on it. They deep fry the waffle, and then toss it in the cinnamon sugar. They need them all the time. They need to have it all the time. It's a very special thing on a Disney cruise. It's like, if you're lucky, it's one morning only that they'll have them on the cruise, sort of thing. So I did a 5-night cruise, and it was the last day that they had them. It was worth the wait.
Wow, that sounds spectacular.
And you don't need anything with it. You don't need syrup or anything. I actually thought they were a little sweet, so I put mine with the whipped cream they have because whipped cream wasn't too sweet, and it kind of tempered it down. But they're very good, very, very good.
I would wrap it in bacon and deep fry it again.
Ooh, there you go.
My heart just clogged with you saying that.
But in the best way possible, it clogged.
And then I'd pour a pile of Dole Whip on top.
Ooh, Dole Whip is a hard one. Dole Whip is that's my favorite treat of the park. And I feel like it's I don't know what it is. I've had Dole Whip in Hawaii and I've had Dole Whip at Disney parks. And that's the only place I enjoy Dole Whip. We have local places that claim to have Dole Whip. I don't think it's the same.
They do use the same mix. I've seen their bags that they use, and they're from the Dole Company, same as what Disney uses. And I actually, in the first few years of the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet, I had ice cream machines that I rented, and I ordered the Dole Whip mix, and we sold those there. We couldn't keep up with demand because the machine couldn't work fast enough, but it was still delicious. Then all of the ice cream machine rental vendors kind of decided not to carry those ice cream machines.
Oh, no.
Especially after COVID, right?
Yeah. Dang.
I'm just imagining, just cut the bag open and just pour it in your mouth.
Just the mix.
I can neither confirm or deny that I've ever done that.
I knew I liked you, Don. I knew I liked you.
So, Don, I know we had you back on episodes 276 and 277 for those who want to listen to our first time we had Don on. But can you kind of tell our listeners or remind our listeners how the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet kind of came to be? What were the origins?
Yeah.
Teresa, that was 15 years ago. I don't know if I can remember.
I know, it was just like yesterday, right?
Yeah. I was always, for various reasons when I was younger, I was a fan of Walt Disney, and I always wanted to read about him and study and just wanted to kind of be like Walt in the way he does things. Try and be magical or give people more than they expect or whatever, whether it was in my job or whatever. But, and then all of a sudden I heard about these Disneyana conventions happening in Southern California. And I would try and drive down there, or if I could afford it, I'd fly down there at the time. We're talking 20 years ago. And when people said there's people that worked with Walt that are going to be there talking and telling stories. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to be there for that. Yeah. And loved to experience it. I loved hearing these people speak, and it was an incredible experience. And I kept asking around, is there anything like that in the Northwest or anywhere else? Is somewhere closer? I can't always get down to Southern California. And people said, no, there's nothing here, but maybe you should do it. And I've never done events before. I was like, yeah, you're crazy. But the more I thought about it and talked to some friends, and I was like, gosh, if I tried to attempt this, not only can I run the event, if I can figure that out, but that means that I can maybe share the stage with some of these people that I idolized and worked with Walt, right? And so I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And tried to plan, and got a guest speaker, Margaret Carey, the original model for Tinkerbell for the animators, the Peter Pan animated film, of course. And she was spectacular, just a wonderful storyteller, and was so helpful and motivational to me in getting that first event started. And my goal was just to do one event. Like, how could it get any better than that? Do the one event. If it's successful, everyone's happy. Gosh, I did something great. And then the day of the show, the show's not even over yet, and people start asking me, hey, are you going to do this next year? When are the dates next year? And I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? And now 15 years later, we've had 40, maybe 50 guest speakers, a number of Disney legends, and it's grown from that first year selling out at 150 guests. I had no idea there was 150 Disney fans in the Northwest. Apparently there's a lot more. And now we sell out every year at 500. And I cap it at that because I want to keep it intimate. Teresa, you've experienced it, and you see that everyone can do everything. Everyone gets a seat. Mm-hmm. Everyone can meet and greet the guest celebrities if they like, and everything else, all of our other activities, they can participate in if they like, and they don't miss out on anything.
Mm-hmm. It's like, I've tried to explain it to people, because a lot of people, when they think of Disney fan events, of course they think of the D23 Expo, which is its own. I mean, you can't, as much as you want to do all of the things, it's impossible to do all the things, because there's so many things, which is great, because depending on what your fandom is, there's something there for you and there's something there for everyone. Whereas this one is good for people like me because I like doing all the things. So it's great to be able to go and experience all the things and not have to make those tough choices that you have to do at the bigger conventions.
You hate choices.
Yes, because of always the things I want to do like are on top of each other always, because that's just how it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the nice thing is you don't have to plan ahead. You don't have to, do like that where you're like, okay, do I want to do this event or that event? Because you just go and let the day kind of unfold in front of you. Plus, if there's any sort of downtime, which there really isn't, Don has all these fun little games and like trivia and stuff around the hotel that you can go and do as well. There's like little hidden Mickey trivia stuff that we did. It was super fun.
Like a cruise.
They
always have the fun little trivias and stuff to keep you busy doing stuff.
Like a cruise. Yep.
Yeah, we have photo ops. My team builds these photo ops every year that's themed to whatever our theme is for the year. And we have a lot of Disney Anna sellers, interactive games. You can paint an animation cell all your own and take it home. So many things to do throughout the day, and it's just a lot of fun. The ironic thing for me, which I absolutely love my event, but going to those events way back, and I got to experience it. I got to enjoy the vendors. I got to sit and watch the speaker talk about Walt Disney or whoever, and now I don't get to do any of that. I'm taking care of things and run up on the stage and introduce people, or maybe I'll lead the interview with a guest speaker, but I'm working pretty hard rather than enjoying it, but it's a labor of love, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, somebody's gotta do all the hard work, right? And I think one of the greatest things you could do is make other people happy and give them joy, and you're definitely doing that for 500 people every one of these events. So I'm sure everybody is very appreciative, but I think you get some stuff out of it too that you just don't get to sit there and
he gets
listen
to share the stage with like these Disney
so
legends
cool.
and all sorts of very important people to the Disney fandom and the Disney universe.
Well, yeah, and on your website, you've got all the people you've ever had on there. So I'm looking through. I'm like, wow, he's had some really cool people over the years. Speaking of which, I know you haven't made any announcements, but you did tell us before we started recording that you might give a hint of who a guest or some guests might be. So could you tease just a little bit so maybe people can try to figure it out or look forward to something?
I see how you are. You're always putting me on the spot there. Okay.
Teresa's trying to be all nice and sweet.
I was going to
I'm just like, and then I come in for the kill, and you're like, I don't like that guy. I think you're going to be the only one that gets to go this time because Don's going to not let me in at the door. He's like, your ticket is void.
Your name, your face is going to be up.
Yeah.
Most wanted.
It's almost a good podcast or bad podcaster.
Yeah.
I see how you guys work. Yeah, I appreciate you checking out the website and looking at that. I mean, so many people from all different areas of the Disney company, right, that we've had in the past. From voice actors, we've had the voices of Mickey, Donald, and Goofy, the voice of Belle, and others. We've had many Imagineers from Marty Sklar and Bob Gurr and Kevin Rafferty and on. And people in the animation, Ron Clements and Don Hahn, of all people. Yeah. I mean, executive producer on numerous films, right, and Pixar. Representation as well. So it's been a fantastic run, and I couldn't be more honored and lucky to be able to have had all these people. Okay, so a hint. I was trying to delay on trying to figure out how I could get out of saying anything, but I'll give you a hint. So I have 2 guest speakers signed, and I'm working on the 3rd. So as soon as I have all 3, I will make the announcements. But a hint. I will tell you, the 2 guest speakers I have signed are former Walt Disney Imagineers.
Nice.
Sold. That's why we're going.
Already sold. Yep.
And let me tell you, these 2 are spectacular in their own individual ways. Any Imagineer, right? Spectacular. But gosh, the stuff they've worked on 30 plus years and 40 plus years at Walt Disney Imagineering, and they've worked on attractions and parks around the world, from concept design to the finished products. So I'm very, very excited to be able to share both of their stories, and we have some special surprises from them as well already that we've been working on and that we've solidified. So it's our 15th anniversary, and so we're trying to pull out all the stops and do all the special things we can, and there's going to be some pretty special things. So that's what I can tell you right now about the guest speakers.
No, that's wonderful.
The thing that I think is so exciting, and we were talking with Don about this before we started the official interview, is the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet is 2 days after another pretty big anniversary. It's 2 days after Disneyland's 70th anniversary. And so the fact that you've got Imagineers too, like, this is going to be a good one.
Yeah.
It's going to be like an extension of the park celebration.
Well, and for our listeners who love the parks, that's, DL Weekly, Imagineers, come on, like, that right there should be worth the price of admission.
Yep. Where
can people get tickets? Are there still tickets on sale? I said, I know you cap them, so.
Yeah. If I could just go back to the Imagineers real quick.
Yes.
I mentioned that they're former Walt Disney Imagineers, and what I love about that is there's less red tape that I have to go through that if they currently work for the studios. But also, when they're retired, or at least retired from Walt Disney Imagineering, they tend to share more stories a little more background and have a little more opinions. So I'm always excited about that.
Oh yeah, we've seen. We've talked to Imagineers for our show, and it's the same thing. And any cast member actually, anybody we've interviewed that still works for the company is very cautious because, Mickey, he's sitting there. In fact, I think one time weren't we talking to somebody who was a cast member, and they were in the middle of saying something, and the Zoom call dropped out, and we're like,
we were joking.
Mickey cut the line. Mickey cut the line.
Oh, that's
but
funny.
It's just different because when you're currently working for the company and doing things versus when you're reflecting back on things, that also can change how things are too.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And, you mentioned D23 earlier, and obviously ours is that one's an official event, and ours is an unofficial event. D23 does like us a lot, and they're usually part of our event in some manner. And Michael Vargo there at D23, who runs that show, along with many other things at the Walt Disney Company, he is a stellar person.
Yeah.
And he's always been extremely helpful. Before we started the show, we were talking about how a couple years ago I had a guest speaker have to cancel last minute because of a surgery they ended up having. I called several people, but Michael was like, we're talking a week and a half out, and Michael was like, yeah, I'm there. I'll fill in for you. I'm here to help. And he loves what he does so much. He loves the Disney fans so much, and he's so supportive. And I have a lot of respect for him and what everything that D23 does. And obviously, my event can't be what D23 is, but we do our best to bring a little bit of magic to the Pacific Northwest.
I think in a lot of ways, not to disparage at all D23 because it's an amazing event, but the smaller events like yours, like Disneyana, Teresa and I commented that like you don't get the opportunity at D23 to just bump. When we first went to the Disneyana event in Southern California a few years ago, we showed up and we're like, "Is that Bob Gurr just hanging out in the hallway?"
Yeah.
And you'll never get that at D23. But you're right, Michael Vargo has been amazing. We had him on the show to talk about D23, and he was like, I've got a half an hour between all these meetings I'm doing. I'll make it for you. And he was just boom, 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 half an hour. And then we ran into him, a dozen times during the expo. And he always was gracious enough to be like, how's it going? You liking the show? And like have a conversation, which like somebody who's so busy and has so many things going on, I was just so surprised that he wasn't like, can't talk, got to move on to the next thing. So he is a great individual. Him and his wife is amazing too. She's amazing as well.
Kristen's wonderful.
Yeah.
So talking about guests, what is the process, or how do you kind of find people, or do you, what's the process for you? Do you kind of go in each year with a theme? Do you of just, how do you decide who you'd like to approach?
Really good question. Early on, I told you the first year we had Margaret Carey, then I called her and I'm like, well, I'm going to do this thing again. Do you know this person or that person? And she was like, yeah, I'll give Bob a call. And so she called Bob Gurr and Bob called me. And then it just kind of went on from there. 2 years later, I had Marty Sklar because Bob Gurr loved coming up so much. He told Marty that, hey, you got to come up to this thing. And I was already involved with Marty's Ryman Arts at the time. And so we kind of ran into each other a couple of times. So he was a little bit familiar. And so what I'm trying to say is it's been a lot of word of mouth. And Marty came up 3 times and he loved the event so much because he loves Disney fans, and he loved sharing stories, and he loved seeing the excitement in Disney fans' faces when they got to meet him or hear his stories. And so he was always a great supporter, and he talked to and sent numerous people up, which I am always appreciative of. And I'm part of I'm on the board of directors for Ryman Arts now because I want to give back to Marty Sklar continually. I'm serving my 6th year on that because he meant so much to me, and I want to give back to something that he started.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it's been word of mouth or recommendation, I should say. That's probably a better word. And then other ones are just, I wonder if the voice of Belle is available. Let me figure out how to contact her. And now, she came up, and we're talking about how we can get her up here again sometime. And then there were dream people to get, like a Joe Rohde, and it took me 6 years. And finally, he's like, "Okay, if you'll stop calling me, I'll come up here." Kidding, but
yeah.
And he was spectacular, and I wanted to get someone from the movies, and so I just kept reaching out and trying to figure out who knew who. And then finally, I got a contact for Ron Clements, and he came up, and co-director of Aladdin and so many films that are Princess and the Frog.
Yeah.
And he was spectacular and showed another facet of history from the Walt Disney Company that we hadn't had on our stage before. And so that's what I also try and look for is, yes, we love Imagineers. They're spectacular, very unique and creative. And so they always have good stories and amazing artwork to show. But all those different departments in the company are also fantastic to share backstories as well. Floyd Norman, who worked for and with Walt Disney way back on 101 Dalmatians and other things, Sleeping Beauty, he had amazing stories to tell. I mean, I could go on and on about each and every one of them,
Yeah.
Did that answer your question?
Of course. Yes, it did. So,
I laugh because Teresa does most of the guest booking for our show. So I'm like, oh, you're trying to get some tips from Dawn, Teresa?
Don is a little more organized about it than I am.
I've been very, very fortunate. I told you I've been studying Walt for many years, and I try. No one can be anywhere near like anything like Walt, of course, but giving people more than they expect and trying to find different ways to create a little pixie dust for attendees, not only attendees though to the event, but my guest speakers. Yeah. And they tend to comment on that every time they come up, that we've never been treated better than when we came up to the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet. And then they go back to their office and tell others. And so just so fortunate to be able to build those relationships and build that confidence in me and what Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet represents. So that's very important. And what you guys have built with your podcast, I'm sure you experience a similar thing with guest speakers recommending others or speaking highly of being interviewed, other than the listeners don't know, but we're on video right now. And if the video gets out, there's going to be a problem.
Well, that's all right, because we don't want the video to get out either.
No.
We're sitting here. I got a blanket on me. Teresa's got a blanket. So it's just.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just sitting here drinking wine and eating garlic bread, and then
I mean, that's like the perfect evening, right?
Yeah, well, I wish I had a Mickey churro waffle, but
yeah, now you have a new thing that you have to
that life goal.
A new snack.
You just got to get on one of those Disney Cruise Line ships when it comes to your area. You were saying something earlier that I think I was surprised by doing this podcast, actually, that there is a huge Disney fan base and Disneyland fan base in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So many people from the Pacific North. I mean, it's almost a rite of passage in the Pacific Northwest for kids growing up. There's a couple things that people in the Northwest do, many things, but a couple things that, especially in the winter, is get out of the Pacific Northwest because we're tired of 6 months of rain and cold, and so we go to Disneyland where it's warm, or we'll travel, south somewhere. But usually Disneyland, family road trips. When I was a kid, fondly remember a family road trip in the little station wagon down to Disneyland and seeing the Matterhorn for the first time, and that was spectacular. So, but nowadays, Disney fans travel down there quite a bit. Do they go down for Dapper Weekend, or I know a lot of them will be going down for the 70th anniversary on July 17th. and they're big cruise fans too. They go on a lot of cruises, so yeah, the big Disney fan community here for sure.
I think when we send out postcards and stuff to our supporters, I think one of the biggest areas other than California is that Pacific Northwest area. And I'm always surprised that there's this giant stack of stuff. And I'm like, wow, that's just like, I mean, I guess it makes sense, right? Like you're fairly close. You're almost, California goes almost the whole height of the country anyway. But, it's a little bit easier than like the Midwest. But I don't know. It's just always surprising to me. I guess I just didn't expect it. And now through the podcast, I'm like, oh yeah, there's a giant community up there. And it also seems like there's a lot of cool events. Your event, obviously. I see on the website too that you guys do some little mini meetups that are a little bit, that aren't this, the big event. And then, of course, there's museums and stuff up there to do things. There's the monorail up there, which is in Seattle, which is really cool.
Yeah. Here's a little known fact for you. There's a little town called Carnation out here. It's about maybe 40 minutes outside of Seattle, a farming community, Carnation. And there is the Carnation Farms. And if you remember in early Disneyland on Main Street, halfway down Main Street on the little side street, there was a milk truck parked in there. And Bob Gurr designed the milk truck. It was white with red. It was Carnation milk truck. That truck sits at the Carnation Farms here locally at the Carnation Farms in Carnation.
Oh, do you know the story of how that got there?
Well, that was the company who
sponsored it?
The name on the truck was Carnation Farm. Carnation, I believe it's a dairy or something.
Yeah.
I don't know the entire story behind that. If you have Bob Gurr on, ask him.
There you go. That Bob Gurr would know.
That's right.
Wow, that's so cool.
I had Bob Gurr up last summer, and this guy, 93 years old, 94 now, and he remembers more. Like, I can't remember all the details of the Carnation truck. He remembers, he would tell you every detail about how he built it, how it got shipped up here to the Northwest. He's come up and visited it. He's seen it up here. And he'll tell you things he did at 3 years old. I can't tell you what I did 10 minutes ago. He's an incredible human being.
He's forgotten more things probably too than what we can remember. That man just has so much knowledge. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of go back, Ryman Arts. So you talked about how you were involved with Ryman Arts. Mm-hmm. Is there anything special that happens during the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet to kind of support that wonderful cause?
Ooh, that was sneaky, and I like it. Thank you,
I
Teresa.
didn't know about this until my first event, and it was like, it was just amazing. So can you kind of talk about that?
Thank you. That's very kind of you. So at the event, we do a charity aspect, and I spend all year trying to get, talking to people at the Disney company and elsewhere to try and get all of these cool things to put in prize baskets. And we have 20 to 25 charity raffle prize baskets that we line up, and people, for $1, you can buy a ticket, and you can buy as many tickets as you want. Please buy 20 million. One ticket is $1, and you put it in the box that correlates with the prize package that you'd like to win. And at the end of the day, we draw from each of those containers, and that winning ticket wins that prize. And all of the charity dollars that we raise for the day, which, depending on the year, the last few years, we've raised about $12,000 on average in one day for charity. And 50% of the funds go to Ryman Arts, and 50% go to Seattle Children's Hospital. Mm. And we're very proud of that. Over 15 years, we've raised over $90,000. In the early years, it was much less, but now we're, $12,000 a year or so. So we're very honored that Disney fans that attend participate in that and really appreciate it so much. And I started that early on in the Mouse Meet in the early years because I wasn't on the board of directors of Ryman Arts yet. And so I wanted to find a way to do a charity aspect and give back to Marty's charity that he started. And so that was one way I could do that. And I also wanted to help something that was local, or that is local, like the Seattle Children's Hospital, which is very important here. It's nationally known as one of the best in the country.
Amazing.
So,
I just remember when I was up there for the 2023 event, Eric Robeson was one of the presenters, and he was in the back doing these incredible sketches. Just watch. I was weird and so were other people because we were all Disney nerds, right? Just watching him. All he had was a Sharpie and like this big blank piece of paper, and he drew Sleeping Beauty Castle and the Haunted Mansion, and that was one of the things that you could win. And actually, one of our listeners won the Sleeping Beauty Castle sketch.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
We were all just joking with him. We're like, you need to protect that with your life because it was gorgeous.
Was that who I think it is?
It was Dave.
Yeah.
Yes, it was Dave.
And it's one of a kind, right? He drew it right there.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something about that with Ryman Arts?
Yeah.
So I don't even know if this is public. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it yet, but a save the date email just went out this afternoon from Ryman Arts, and we've been working on and planning our annual charity kind of gala. This is where we do a big chunk of our fundraising for the year, and it's called Celebration of the Arts. When Marty was here, he used to host it at his home in Hollywood. Now we host it at the Grand Central Terminal in Glendale, California, which is owned by Imagineering, overseen by Imagineering. It's right across the street from Walt Disney Imagineering. Beautiful, historic airport building. Used to be the Glendale Airport back in way back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. Now it's this beautiful event space, and actually D23's offices are there. But our gala event will be there, and the board actually asked me to MC the event this year, so I will be host and MC. But, and I hope I can say this, I don't know if this has been announced in the email yet. I didn't read the email, but we're bringing in Eric Robeson, and he's going to live paint during the event, and we're going to auction off it's going to be a big, colorful, beautiful painting. We're going to auction that off live.
Amazing.
And I have a special guest that's going to join me on stage to help me do all the live auctions, and his name, you might recognize it, Bill Rogers.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so Ryman Arts is celebrating 35 years of being Ryman Arts. And so this is going to be a spectacular celebration as well. I can't tell you who we're awarding the Marty and Leah Sklar Achievement Award. That's going to be a big announcement coming soon. But let me tell you, if anyone is in Southern California, lives there, or is traveling there during the week of May 8th, that's a Thursday, go to our website, if you don't mind, rymanarts.org, and sign up, get tickets to this, because I cannot emphasize enough. 35th anniversary, there's going to be so many Disney luminary there, you're not even going to believe it. It's going to be spectacular.
Oh, super cool. That was just going to be my next question. Is this an event that the public can attend?
And it's limited. There's 50 VIP tickets that get you in early to a VIP special presentation, and then there's general admission that'll be a few hundred people that can get those. And to be on the grounds of the Grand Central Terminal, Walt Disney Imagineering property, and it's just super cool. It's a fun night.
Speaking of our mutual friend Bob Gurr, we took his Waltland tour last year, and he pointed out he had an office in that exact building, and he pointed out which windows used to be his.
Oh yeah. He had an office there, and there's a little museum in there that there's a lot of things from in the museum from when it was an airport, but there's one little section that's the Bob Gurr section.
Oh,
and there's a lot of his personal memorabilia from when he worked there. In this display case. It's pretty cool.
Oh, very fun.
That's cool.
Very, very fun. I'm trying to think, is there any other teasers that you could maybe give us for folks that have maybe attended a Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet, that something that's going to be a little different this year, besides the guests, of course, or other things that people can look forward to?
Can you tease the theme at all?
The theme.
15 years, Tag. That's the theme.
Well, yeah, but there's always I assume that he's got like a bigger
an overall
theme.
Yeah. So the theme is Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
Celebrating 15 years.
I will tell you the theme. I can do that. So this 2 Imagineers will be guest speakers. That's first to be announced here. And the theme is going to be Adventureland, New Orleans Square-ish kind of thing.
Ooh.
I'll just hint
AKA
at that.
the best area of the park.
And we did a little bit of Adventurelandish stuff a couple years ago, but this is going to be a little more real elaborate, and we got some surprises up our sleeve.
There's
we
professionals involved.
Oh.
Yes, we have more Disneyana vendors than we've ever had before. We expanded some space. We figured out how to add a little bit more space, and we have more Disneyana vendors. The photo ops are going to be ridiculous. They're always pretty impressive. I think, Teresa, you saw a couple of them when you attended, and these this year are going to be really cool. And just some surprises we have to celebrate 15 years. We get in our meetings and we still can't believe it's been 15 years. And so we're like, we have to totally celebrate this thing and do special things because it is special. Mm-hmm. Not many fan events get to go that long, and we're very honored.
Well, and the fact that you do your event yearly. So, I mean, it's a lot of work. You have other events that only do it every other year because it's a lot of work to put these things on. Yeah. Yes, because it's a lot of work to put these things on. So the fact that it's, the 15th one and it's happening annually is just wild. I can't wait for you to see it so I tried to explain the atrium because I was not a smart person and took video or anything when I was there. But they have projections up that are, I don't remember how many floors this atrium's open, but 6 floors. So they have projections up the walls of 6 floors to immerse you in the theme. And then we haven't even talked about the door decorating contest yet. You have seen cruise line doors.
Yeah. Well, I saw pictures that you had of these.
People that have I'm just remembering the one that won the year I was there. They built a tree. It was Winnie the Pooh themed, and they had built a tree that had this moving beehive going on, and all this it's so fun.
You know what would
incredible.
Be really unfair is if the Imagineer guests built a door.
If they got it on the door decorating contest.
The guest speaker. So I go around. So Friday night, there's a big party at the event. We do trivia and a themed dinner and pin trading. And then the door decorating, and everyone goes around and sees all the doors. And now, last year we started, Teresa, this wasn't happening when you came up, but last year we started, every door decorating participant gets a QR code, and the guests get to vote on which one they like best. So nice. Now there is a Mouse Meet Best of Show winner, and there is a fan voting.
That's
winner.
Fun. Well,
and that's and so everyone gets to participate, and the guest speakers, a lot of times we'll go around at 9:00 at night and judge all of them. You take notes and then figure out who's going to win. But a lot of times the guest speakers will walk around with us because they're enamored with it too. They're so impressed with all the talent that's out there, the creativity.
These folks go I don't know. It's amazing to me. I don't understand how they get the things all there and set up. And then there's people that have interactive booths. So one of the people they invited you into the room, and then there was this whole trivia thing, and it was very interactive. And then other people have it looks like there's fireworks going off and all sorts of.
So the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet, show in a show.
Yeah,
absolutely, and really. That's I'm going to steal that if I could because what these people create, I love that if they stay, some people only stay one night and decorate for one night and then take it down, but some people will stay all weekend and all during the event the next day. Everyone can walk around not only on the show floor, but they can go up on all the floors and see all the different door decorations, and just for 500 plus people to be able to go up and see what these people have created and worked so hard on for months. I've already gotten emails from people saying, I'm working on my decorations and we're building. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're crazier than I am.
See, that's the other thing. Some of these people only have it up for the one night.
That's crazy.
And it's this big, huge, intricate thing that I'm like,
Well, they're trying to win, right?
No, I know, but then all for, just for the one night. There was one, it was a Haunted Mansion theme one that was then... It was Haunted Mansion themed, but then it was also Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet themed because the different tombstones had, I think it was past guests that were on the different tombstone. And there was something special for you. I don't remember what it was.
Someone put me on a big tombstone and I don't know how I feel about that.
But it was like a double theme.
Sure.
Very, very creative. Very creative.
And the door decoration or you said that some of them are interactive and very true, and they'll invite you in and do trivia and stuff. But the ones that have snacks or alcohol, can I say that here?
Yes, you can.
Those always get a bonus point for those.
Yeah, you will not go to bed hungry after you go visit the door decorating
Or thirsty, apparently.
because there's all sorts of goodies.
I mean, come on, snacks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Can I just tell you this? If anyone listening is going to be staying at the hotel, and our first group block sold out, and I am releasing another. The hotel was kind enough to give me another 15 rooms, so we're gonna in another day or two, we're going to have another 15 rooms available, and then that's it. That's all they'll give us. But anyone listening stays there, and you door decorate. You don't even have to decorate. Just have a churro waffle available, and you probably win.
I love it.
we're trying to rig the game.
There we
here.
go. That we'll have a churro waffle.
I'd love to see you try to make a churro waffle.
They've got the little the waffle irons that are Mickey shaped. I don't know where I'm going to get the deep fryer.
She makes a mean homemade. There's a drink that they serve in Cars Land in the Cozy Cone called the Paradise.
Why did you just give me this idea? We could serve paradises.
There you go. So I'm looking here. I just want to, for people, because I didn't understand this, and I want to make sure our listeners who might attend understand this. So the ticket that you buy is for Saturday, right? But
Correct.
there's stuff that happens Friday. Is there stuff that happens Sunday too? Like, is it kind of make a whole weekend out of it?
Yeah. So Friday night. So the main Pacific Northwest Mouse Meat ticket that you can get on our website is for Saturday, the Saturday's event. It's from about 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and it's just 3 different guest speakers throughout the day: Disneyana, sellers, photo ops, trivia, paint a cell. I can't remember what else. There's so much to
know
do.
all sorts of other Disney fans.
You get to meet other Disney fans, pin trading, lots of pin trading, so many activities to do. And that's all included in the Saturday ticket price. Friday, and then there's an additional cost after the event. There's a themed dinner. And the hotel does a wonderful, fantastic job. The chef there is amazing. I give him the recipes from the Disney parks, and he makes them.
Wow.
He did Plaza Inn fried chicken, and it was he gave people so much fried chicken and food that they had to get to-go boxes to take it home.
Oh, wow.
So much. It was amazing.
I didn't know about this.
But then,
Yes, that was the year I was there.
yeah. So Friday night, though, is kind of it started out organically, and then we're like, well, we got to kind of maybe help out and organize it a little bit. So we have on the stage Friday night, there'll be a trivia contest with prizes. There's pin trading and pin history and education. And all these are run by some people that are amazing, and they do a really, really good job with the trivia and the pin trading. And I appreciate them very much for what they do to help out our guests. And then we also have a themed dinner Friday night. And so it'll be themed to one of the lands in the park. Might have given away some of that earlier. And so you get this wonderful dinner. You get trivia. You get to participate if you want. And then all the room door decorating. It's just a big Disney magical party. And there's music going on, and it's so fun. So, and that's no charge other than, and if you're not staying at the hotel, you can just come by and be a part of it too, which is great. And then Sunday, sometimes I create a special guest speaker kind of bonus presentation on Sunday. It'll be a ticketed event always. For example, last year, I mentioned I had Bob Gurr up, and we talked about all his Disney stuff that he did on Saturday. And then Sunday, he and I were talking previous. We're friends, and we meet up every once in a while in California. And we're sitting there one night in California at a restaurant, and he said, Don, everyone always asks me about all the stuff I've done with Disney. And that's over 100 things I did for the Walt Disney Company. I'm very proud of them. But I've done 150 things for companies outside of Disney.
Yeah.
And I said, Bob, I'm going to send you an email. I'm going to give you a list of pictures that I need from you, and then we're going to create a presentation. I created a presentation deck for him, and that Sunday, added ticket event. It was pretty well economically priced, but we wanted to share his story that he's never been able to tell about all of these things he's done outside of Disney. And I mean, he did the flying saucer at the 1980 Los Angeles Olympics. He did the sinking pirate ship at the Treasure Island in Las Vegas, and so many things. And so we got to talk about that for like an hour and a half. And he was so thrilled to be able to share all those stories. And a couple of people on my team are working on that video right now. I'm going to send him that video, and we're going to see about maybe releasing it online somehow, because
That'd be cool.
Great, amazing stories to tell that haven't been heard so much before.
That's what we want when we get Bob Gurr on. We were like, we don't care if we just want him on. And if he wants to talk about the phone book, he can come on and talk about the phone book. Because you're right. He gets asked about the same, few things all the time. What was it like to work with Walt? Talk about the Autopia cars, talk about the Main Street vehicles.
Yep.
And so give him the opportunity to be like, you know what? I just want to talk about at Disneyana. He talked about, he started his talk about the scooter he was working on, which was fascinating, actually.
Yes.
And it sounds like this was a fascinating talk, too. So, okay. Well, I'm just trying to mentally get myself prepared for what the weekend's going to be. So I'm getting more and more excited.
Yeah. And the year I went on Sunday, D23 hosted a member viewing of the Haunted Mansion film, because it had just come out. And so they had, I'm assuming, made some sort of arrangements, and so the only folks in the theater watching the movie at the same time were all D23 members.
That's cool.
Yep. And we were given little posters, and it was really fun.
That's awesome.
It was really fun.
They always do something unique and amazing, and I said it already, but the whole D23 team is incredible.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like your setup is really incredible too, so don't discount that. I know.
Well, you know what's funny is, Teresa, you've said a couple times, once I came to the event, you weren't sure what to expect, and once you came to the event, you're trying to explain it to someone else, right? Yeah. and that's been my challenge all this time, because for me, I mentioned I went to those Disneyana conventions years ago, and I went to other kind of groups or talks in other areas, fan events. And so when I decided to make my own event, I wanted to create an event that was exactly what I would want to attend. And so I wanted it very thematic, and I wanted it very entertaining and very, as much magic as I could put into it. I mean, I'm not Disney, and so I'm just Dawn. But I think Teresa, I think you might agree that it was magical.
It is.
During the event. And so it's this event. It's the perfect event I would want to attend, and I get to host it and produce it, which is amazing. And the team I have that is with me and helps me create this event and helps me run the event for the weekend, they are the best people on the planet. We're all family now. We've all been together for 8, 9, 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, depending on the person. But this Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet team, they all volunteer their time. So do I. And they are spectacular. I can't speak highly enough of my team that I have. I'm the luckiest guy on the planet that I get to not only have these wonderful people that help out and help make the magic, and they love to do that. But they're now family. They're my family too. So I'm very honored to have them in my life.
Well, and I think that shows, everyone's passion and excitement that's creating this event really shines through during the event, because anytime that you talk with anybody or interact with anybody that is someone that's, part of the crew making the event happen, they are so thrilled and excited that you're there and to talk with you. And they try and make it magical, and they're just super happy. Whereas, I'm looking at them how are you? Do you need coffee? There's a lot going on. This is a very busy weekend. My parents did local events that were not different type of events, different scale. And I know how exhausting that these things can go, especially when you're kind of on stage during the whole thing too. It can be very draining, but you wouldn't know it. You absolutely wouldn't know it. So there's lots of extra pixie dust happening at the Mouse Meet to make it happen too. Cause it's crazy. And I stayed at the hotel, and one of the things that I really enjoyed, I was, third or fourth floor. So I really liked looking down, on the ground level to kind of see all the things happen. I was fascinated watching the event space, because it's half of the atrium floor, kind of change and morph throughout the weekend. Because like Don mentioned, it's Friday night. It's kind of trivia and stuff. So the chairs and tables were set up one way Friday night, and then you wake up Saturday morning and suddenly it's all these rows because that's where the presentations are going to be, and just watching all of the different like lighting effects and all this stuff that they've put together that you don't have to do, but that's what makes an event like more magical, is all those extra touches like the projections and the sound effects. And yeah, it's
and
so
Dawn
fun.
and anybody listening to this episode, I just want to tell you how authentic Teresa's excitement for this event was, because she has talked about this event highly multiple times to me, not on the air, just how great of an experience it was and how excited she was. She wanted us to go last year, but we had a kind of a busy summer.
Yeah.
We had to pick, and she was like, look, here's the deal. We're either doing D23 or we're doing mouse meat. We can't do like both things. So,
That was it. The D23 was like like they were very, very close on the calendar.
So it was just one of those things scheduling wise. And so I was like, okay, well, I mean, to be fair, because she talked about it so highly, I was like, well, I've been to D23. Why don't we just go to the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet? And she's like, no, we got to do D23. And I'm like, okay. So, but it worked out. But I'm excited to finally get to experience it this year and see with, firsthand what this is all about. And I hope people listening to our conversation get excited and go quickly, because tickets are limited. Go book a ticket. And not only can you attend this amazing event, but if you haven't met Teresa or I, like, we'll be there. Like, you can come see us too. Yeah. I know that's probably not that big of a sales pitch, but like, we love meeting people, and so it's another opportunity. So you can knock out a couple things, plus whoever the Imagineers are going to be, whoever the third person's going to be.
You can meet Dawn.
You can meet Dawn.
Bring him a coffee or some wine.
Churro waffles.
And
Bring him
churro waffles. Yeah, bring him churro waffles.
Yes,
you're going to get somebody bringing you a bag of churro waffles now, Don. I'm telling you.
Oh, my gosh. That would be the highlight of my 15th anniversary of the event. Teresa, I really appreciate you saying all the kind things that you say about the event. It's very, very generous of you. Thank you. And Tag, I hope you experience the same thing when you come up.
Oh, I'm sure.
This summer. And I say that with all sincerity. I mean, every guest that attends, my entire team is like, how do we make it magical for every person that attends? And we hope we succeed every time.
Yeah. Well, keep going the way you're going, and maybe for the 20th anniversary, you'll have a roller coaster or something set up in the lobby.
Oh, speaking of that, 20th. So, going back and forth, over the years, you start to think, well, how long do I want to do this, or how long not? And sometimes I've thought about, well, do I call it at 15 or do I call it at, 10 or 20? And it's so difficult. It would be so hard to ever stop this, because so many people rely on it and love it so much. And that's their highlight of the year sometimes. And an epiphany happened last summer. Can I tell you about it?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Anyone at the Mouse Meet can attest to this. And it's in the video interview with Bob Gurr. But he said on stage, he was 93 at the time. And he said in 7 years, he wants to come back and be the only guest that's 100 years old to be on the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet stage. And he's committed to coming back in now 6 years to do that. So I have to go at least that long to bring Bob back at 100 years old. You cannot let
Bob down. Yeah, no.
That's right. So pretty excited about that.
You just got to find someone that feels as passionately about it as you and hand the reins over. Like, there's no reason to stop it. Just
sometimes though, when right, I'm sure for Don, he gets probably very excited about it. So it's hard to then,
yes, that's true. Yeah,
to hand it over, because you're so passionate about it and you enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
Tag, you said something very early on in this conversation about how happy Disney fans are when they meet guest celebrities or attend an event like this. And that's why I do it. I mean, people love that day and the experience. I see people meet their hero that created their favorite attraction, and imagine that, or the voice they grew up listening or watching Beauty and the Beast 150 times, and now they get to meet the voice of Belle, and many, many stories like that. And they're in tears. And the audience is in tears when they see presentations and stories from these people. Ron Clements had the entire audience teary-eyed and a standing ovation. And Bob Gurr, standing ovation, because he's such a hero and so special in our lives, our personal Disney relationships and our lives. I can't not do this. It means so much to people. And it means so much to me too, right?
Yeah.
So Don's going to be on the stage when he's 100, still doing the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet.
Hey, if I am privileged enough to live that long, yes, I will do that.
I love it. I love it.
So Don, where can people go online to get tickets, or if they can't make this one, to be able to maybe make one of the mini meetups that you have also going, and or look up next times? Where can people find that?
So thank you for asking. I really appreciate that. www.pnwmousemeet.com, MEET, as in we're meeting up, not MEAT, as in mouse
We're
meet.
not eating. Yes.
pnwmousemeet.com. We are well over half sold out on our tickets.
Wow.
As I mentioned, the hotel is 80% sold out, and it will be sold out very quickly after I release those other 15 rooms. And, check out the website. Visit us. If you haven't been before, you've heard what Teresa has explained and the enthusiasm in her voice. And Tag, I agree. Very genuine, and I can't explain how appreciative I am of that. And I promise you, celebrating our 15th anniversary, we will show you an amazing time. It's going to be absolutely wonderful, and I'm so excited about it.
I want to let Weekly Tears know, because the year that I went, this was very, very cool, was we had kind of an accidental meetup, and a group of DL Weekly listeners all kind of got together and experienced the Mouse Meet together. And these were folks that maybe some of them knew each other from other events that we have for DL Weekly, but there are other people that they were only listeners at that point and weren't part of the community that we've grown to. And it was just so fun. So you also get to connect with other Weekly Tiers. I know that there's already a group that have been planning their trip to the Mouse Meet this year because they're hooked just like I am. And so, so that was another kind of like bonus to this already amazing and magical weekend, was being able to connect with other listeners too. So that was really fun.
Yeah,
we
that's
even did a tiki bar night. We had a like impromptu meetup and went to, it's the tiki bar that like overlooks, there was a pool that it overlooked, and we had went out for drinks after.
Anderson School.
Yes. We went out for drinks afterwards there. It was so much fun.
Super cool place. Yeah. And you have a very good point. One of the unexpected things that I experienced early on in this event, the first couple of years, and we had to really recognize this and emphasize it moving forward, is the Disney fans meeting each other. And people come to our event from 10 to 12 states, depending, each year, and all over Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and as far away as Utah and Pennsylvania and Florida, California, Arizona,
Wisconsin.
But people, and people meet at our event, and then they stay in contact. They're in contact online, and they're friends. And then it's almost like our event has almost become a family reunion for a number of people. And they look forward to seeing their friends they met here 5-6 years ago. And now they're doing it every year. And it's such an amazing thing that Disney fans can experience and connect with. Because when we're at home or at work, you're like, your coworkers might be like, "Oh, you're going to Disneyland again? Oh, geez, yeah." But here,
been there,
we get to talk about it all, and we get to share all of our dreams and fantasies about the parks and cruises and Aulani and everything else. And no one judges you. We're just Disney fans. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I love it.
I remember there was a kind of like a getting to know the other attendees games. It was maybe a bingo card, and you had to go around and find someone that has, this or that or whatever. And I remember looking at that thinking, well, surely there aren't very many people that did the whatever it was. I think it was like Club 33 or VIP tour. And we had just experienced that ourselves for the first time. I'm like, I can help people. Oh, there were so many people. It was amazing to me. I'm like, there are more people that have done VIP tours and have been at Club 33 than I can't remember what one of the things was. But I was just wild because nowhere in your regular life do you get to have that experience and have, camaraderie with people that you've never met before, but have so many things in common with already.
I love that. Thanks for sharing that. We just had a meeting last Sunday, and that bingo card that you're talking about, each square has something different. Have you ever eaten a turkey leg? Have you been to Club 33? All those things. Have you ever been on a Disney cruise? And we worked on revamping all those questions, but they're such great, and that's one of the interactive things we do, right? And so it's such a great thing for people to interact with each other and find out similar likes, and people become friends through this little game, and it's a lot of fun.
It is. It definitely is. And then the other fun thing too is people would see like what squares you may be missing. They're like, "Oh, you know who's done that?" And then they'd introduce you to the person.
Yes.
So it was like, yeah. So it was super, super fun.
That's awesome. I love it.
Awesome. Don, is there anything that we haven't covered about the event that you would like to chat about quick? I mean, I think we've done a really great job hyping it up.
You've had me on for a second or third time actually, and 2 episodes, and now this one, and you're so kind, and you guys are so good at your research and asking questions that I don't know if I have anything else to tell you.
Go get your tickets. Go get your rooms.
Absolutely. Thank you. We're almost 2/3 of the way sold out on tickets, and they just went on sale February 1st. Yeah, get your ticket while you can. Come have a party with us. Enjoy the weekend. Stay in the hotel if you can. If you can't, that's fine. Stay nearby or drive in if you live nearby. And it's going to be so much fun. We are doing some extra things to celebrate this year, and it's going to be a blast. And these Imagineers, and if I can get the third guest speaker done, who I think it's going to be, it's going to be another stellar year. I can't believe I get to share the stage with some of these people that I do, and I'm so honored for that. And I get to bring them to 500 Disney fans and share their stories. So come join us. Let's have some fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Don, for coming on and giving us a sneak peek at this year's Mouse Meet. I know we were already excited, and now knowing that
I'm more excited than I was
there's
before.
There's going to be Imagineers presenting, like...
I'm actually, like, that's good. Like, to be fair, that's good. But, like, I'm excited about all the other stuff that's going on, because I just feel like it's going to be a nonstop weekend.
Packed full of fun weekend. You're going to be exhausted at the end of it. Because there's just so many fun things. And you want to go to Disneyland
around that time, too.
We're going before.
But you don't think we'll be exhausted from Disneyland? My goodness.
We'll have
you just reminded me of something. I posted something about the event coming up, and tickets are on sale around February 1st. And a lot of people commented, of course, but one person commented, I'm so excited to go because it's just like going to Disney camp.
Yes, I saw that comment. That was perfect.
Oh, you did? Yeah. And that explained it so well, because it's not just a one-day event. It's all weekend. And like I said, whether you stay there or not, you can still come in and be a part of all the fun for the whole weekend. And I had never thought about it that way until I read it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. It's Disney camp.
Yeah, you've got the camaraderie, the activities. Yeah.
You can sing along if you want. You can do trivia.
I love it. It is. It's like adult Disney camp. It's so much fun.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing you both again. I've never met you in person, but Teresa, I'm looking forward to getting a hug from you again, and looking forward to seeing you both this summer. I'm really honored that you both would choose to take time to come up all the way up to Seattle to see us. Thank you.
Well, it's an amazing area as well, too. So, like, win, 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 win.
It's gorgeous. Have you been here before?
Yeah.
Up in the Northwest? You have? Okay.
Yeah, I did a road trip a couple summers ago, right after COVID, and we did a big road trip where we went down south because my sister-in-law lived in Texas at the time. She's back up in Minneapolis, but she lived in Texas at the time. We went over, did Disneyland, went up, because I grew up in Northern California, so we went through where I used to live. We went all the way up. We went to the Enchanted Forest, which some of our listeners had worked there before, and so we went there, and then we went up to Seattle and stayed with somebody. Actually, we stayed with somebody that we met through the podcast and hung out in Seattle. I was so bummed because all I wanted to do was ride the monorail in Seattle, and it was they were doing maintenance or something on it, and I was so sad. But it's a beautiful area for sure.
It is. Absolutely. I love to live here. It's a gorgeous area.
Yeah.
Oh, something to tell people. that's related, but not completely the event. If you are a Disney shopper and the Disneyana things at the convention are not quite what you're looking for, there is one of the last remaining Disney outlets. Very, very close.
Yes.
And the year that I went there, they opened, I think, early, and Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet attendees were able to shop early before the store was open to the public.
Yes.
And they did this fun special shopping event. So if you're a Disney merch person, lots of opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
So many. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great call out. One of the last outlets, right? Yeah.
One of the final. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you enjoy listening to the show, please consider rating and reviewing the show on iTunes. It helps other Disney fans become weekly tiers and part of the community.
Looks like we're coming in for a landing, gang. But please stay listening until trivia comes to a stop. And then you can walk to the nearest exit. Thanks for listening to the 8th wonder of the world, DLWeekly.
Welcome back to Trivia Land, where we are going to find out the answers to tonight's questions and how Tag and Teresa did. Tag, Teresa, how do you feel?
Yeah.
Well, I'm very excited to learn 4 new answers.
You know, I'd be much happier if you would have asked a bunch of Pacific Northwest Mouse Meat questions, because now I feel like we know much more about that.
We would have aced that.
Well,
I would have aced that.
the problem is we didn't talk to Dawn until after we got asked the question, so we wouldn't have aced
I
it.
still would have aced it.
Well, sure.
True. Well,
It's a Disney fan event. I have total faith in us, Tag.
and Teresa, you've been there before. So
You know that's just challenging, Vern, to pick a fan event we've been to and ask trivia questions about it, right?
It is true, yeah.
Crazy people.
So next week, or next week after next, it's going to be, I'm going to ask you about the D23 Ultimate Fan event.
Yeah, you never know what I might come up with now
Yeah.
because you've done that. Have you ever heard of a little town called Marceline?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yes, we have. It's adorable.
All right, well, let's see how you did. Your first question. According to Michael Eisner's 1998 memoirs, he and his wife, Jane Breckenridge, came up with the idea for the What's Next ad campaign while hosting a dinner for George Lucas and several other celebrities, including which 2 famous aviators? You guessed Amelia Earhart and Charles Lindbergh. The correct answer that I was looking for was Dick Rutan and Gina Yeager. They had just flown around the world on a single tank of gas.
Oh.
And when Michael Eisner asked them what they wanted to do next after they had just done something so astonishing, Rutan responded, "Well, we're going to Disneyland."
Yeah, I remember this story now, and the wife or somebody was near them or something was like, this is the, because they were trying to figure out how to advertise it.
It was Jane Breckenridge later that night, pulled Michael off to the side and said, this would be a great ad.
And they pulled the whole campaign together, in like 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Which leads us into our next question. 2 weeks later, New York Giants quarterback Phil Simms won Super Bowl 21, the 1987 Super Bowl, and as he walked off the field, a camera crew asked what he was going to do next. He replied, "I'm going to Disney World." How much did he claim he was paid to say that? Teg said, nothing, and Teresa said $1. The correct answer that I was looking for was $50,000. Or in 2025 dollars, $140,000.
Just to say I'm going to Disney. Walt Disney.
Mm-hmm. And according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in 1987, the average player salary in the NFL was around $230,000.
That's a lot less than it is nowadays.
Well, significantly less than nowadays, but he basically made a fifth of his income off of that one statement.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he made more than $230,000 since he was the MVP of the Super Bowl, but
I also feel like isn't the real money when you're a sports person the deals you get, the marketing deals?
That's where they make most of their money is
Yeah.
the ads and whatnot. That's why Mahomes is an Allstate agent. But your third question. The What's Next campaign hasn't happened every Super Bowl since 1987. What year or years did they take off?
Oh,
You
I just
guessed-
realized it was year or years, plural. We didn't have to have multiple years.
To be fair, that was a trick. I
Oh.
was messing with you.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute. We may have been overachievers.
No, I know Vern by now. He does this to throw us off.
You said 2002 or 2021.
That's what Teresa said.
Or 2022.
And I said 2021 or 22.
Or 22. All right. Sorry. There were a lot of numbers getting thrown around.
That's okay.
I was writing them down so I was good. The correct answer that I was looking for was 2005. The official press release from Disney was that they were already in the midst of 2 large ad campaigns, and the price of running a Super Bowl ad on Fox that year was not worth it.
Dang.
Skeptics point out that previous years the broadcast was on ABC, and Disney chose to sit out the year that it was on Fox.
Ooh. That's interesting because that was the year that the 50th anniversary kicked off, which was a huge marketing campaign. But that was like months later. So, but still, I mean, they spent a ton of money for that campaign, so I get it.
Yeah. So believe whichever side you want to believe, but those are the ideas that are out there.
Huh.
Yep.
That's good to know.
And your fourth and final regular round question: do only football players get asked what's next as part of the ad campaign? Teg said yes, and Teresa said no. The correct answer that I was looking for was no. NBA stars, including Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, just to name a few, have all been asked what's next. And in 2004, 3 Boston Red Sox, Curt Schilling, Pedro Martinez, and David Ortiz, went to Disney World after winning the World Series.
Wow.
There you go.
I thought it might be no, but I was like, one of us should be right.
And your bonus question tonight: which team's MVP went to Disney World this past Monday after winning the Super Bowl Sunday night? Both of you know in the correct answer, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Woohoo!
Quarterback Jalen Hurts rode on a float in the parade at Magic Kingdom.
Nice.
Well, listeners, how did you do listening at home? How do you think Teresa and Tag did? Do you have a set of perfect questions that you'd like to hear, or even just one perfect question that you'd like to hear? Well, if you do, feel free to send that in to us at dlweekly.net/trivia.
Well, we will be back next week with more Disneyland news and information.
Until then, go out and enjoy the parks.
A special thank you to Sidel for editing the podcast.
Hello, I am Baymax, your personal podcast companion. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this episode? My scans indicate you have been a good weekly tier. Have a lollipop. Now excuse me while I let out some air. Goodbye.